Greetings and welcome to the Halloween edition of the Sliders Review. And I'm here today to talk to you about Shrooms. The 2007 psychedelic horror movie. Just for the sake of YouTube being the way YouTube is, I'm just gonna call the shrooms magic mushrooms and stuff. I remember I watched this movie many years ago, and I watched it on YouTube because I was looking for new stuff, like horror stuff to watch around October. And so I was on YouTube, I was watching a bunch of movies that I've never seen before, and I came upon this movie. This movie is terrible. I know the movie revolves around magic mushrooms, but I truly believe the writer and the director probably took some of those magic mushrooms when making this movie, because it is not good at all. They try to be clever. Like, I get what they're trying to do. It's a group of people, they get high, and all of a sudden somebody or something is chasing them, killing them. You got to figure out like who and everything. And one of the girls having these premonitions of the murders and everything, and she's trying to save people. Then they try to avert your expectations with a twist at the end that you saw coming a mile away. But it doesn't do it very well. It's almost like, okay, they're like, hey, we're coming up with this good idea. Things are kind of working out, but how are we going to execute this and everything? Screw it. Just throw some half-ass thing in there, and hopefully people might like it or something. And that's the problem I have right there. It's like there's no thought and care put into this movie. They're trying too hard to be clever, but they're not clever enough to be clever. Not only do you see the twist coming a mile away, but it's just everything executed in this movie just isn't doing it. The pacing does get a bit slow. Like, it takes a long time for them to trip and for bad stuff to actually happen. So you kind of have to spend the rest of the first half of the movie getting to know the characters, but you don't care for the characters because they're pretty one note. You have the blonde final girl looking type person who's in love with the guy with the dark hair, and the cool mysterious kind of guy that she had a thing with a long time ago, and she wants to have another thing with him. You have some ghetto white guy who's like a jock, who's just the jerk of the movie. You have a blonde hippie dude that, looks like he's the type of person that would be high 24/7. You have his like hot, like hippie girlfriend with the armpit hair. And then you have just like some regular girl who's just there just to be nice. And it's just like, these are boring characters. They try to set the mood by having it have like a bluish, grayish, like filter tint to it. Because I guess they're in Ireland, so they're trying to show, hey, we're in Ireland, plus this is also like a dark movie and blah, blah. Which begs the question, why are these American college students flying all the way to Ireland? And yes, that's the premise of the movie. They fly all the way to Ireland to meet up with a guy that one of the girls know, just so they can get high in the woods. They can't do that in America? I know there's special mushrooms or magic mushrooms in America. Oh, by the way, don't do drugs. Drugs are bad. Like, for real. And everything. This is not like an endorsement to like magic mushrooms. Just don't do them. Anyway. So like the cool and the dude who they're doing it with is actually from Ireland. And the question is, how do they even really know him? They don't even explain how she hooked up with him a long time ago. But yet they all know this dude from Ireland. So was he an exchange student or what? I don't know. But it's like, so they're out in the woods and he's all like, no cell phones, because when you trip, you're probably going to start calling people, acting stupid, blah, 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 blah. So they don't want to give up their cell phones, and rightfully so, but he makes them do it anyway. So anyways, they're having their discussions, their talk, they bicker a little bit because it's always one of those groups that just never gets along, but yet they're friends and everything. And of course, the girls don't get along with the girls, and the girls don't get along with the guys. And so it's like, how am I supposed to root for these people? And they're kind of irritating. So in a way, that night comes, they trip. And they before that happens, they actually meet two hillbilly guys in the woods. And these are the most stereotypical country bumpkin hillbillies you will ever see. They're the big, like, older hillbilly guys who are mentally inept, who are drooling from the mouth and everything like that. The most stereotypical thing you could find in a horror movie. I wish they would stop doing that. They did that in American Horror Story, Roanoke, or whatever you call that season. And I'm just like, people don't really act like that. And if they do, they're mostly in a mental hospital. Anyways, so as they're tripping and everything, the main girl, she's upset because the other guy pretends like he don't know who she is after they hooked up many years ago. So she decides she's gonna disobey the rules and eat the death bell mushroom, which is pretty toxic and everything, and you can really get messed up from that, and you can die. And he tells her that, and she takes it anyway. And it's like really stupid. So she's super tripping and everything. But as she super trips, she has premonitions. Interesting. What's causing these premonitions? We don't know, but that does make it intriguing for the movie if the movie was written right. So she starts to see some of her fellow friends getting killed. So she tries to like prevent it, but can't. And as who's exactly killing these people? We see this monstrous looking thing with monster claws at one point. Then we see a person wearing a costume and kind of like a hoodie type thing. And they're killing like her friends. So it's kind of like, okay, wait. So it's a person in a costume, but it's also a monster? So I'm like, oh, okay, I know what's happening here. So let me see him, I'm right. So then all of a sudden, there's like a legend of like, I guess like this castle looking building and these people from back in the day. So they try to set you up by making you think, oh, it's a paranormal, supernatural thing with this ancient like monster in the castle. And it goes after people in the woods and blah, 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 and stuff like that, right? But I'm like, nah, I don't believe that. So we see like the two final girls and everything. They're at the castle. The hillbillies are there. And more freaky, crappy stuff happening. More premonitions. More people dying. And then, of course, like the girl, she I guess has like the axe of one of the killers, and she's running in the woods trying to protect herself. Only for her to trip hard again, and then next thing you know, she sees a helicopter flying over her head. And then as she's getting taken away in the ambulance and everything, she starts to have more premonitions. I think her phone rang or something like that. I don't know. No, the paramedic phone rang. And that kind of made her remember stuff. And then, as you probably guessed it, it's her doing all the killings and everything. She tripped so hard on the toxic mushrooms and stuff that it caused her to just start going around killing the hillbillies in the woods and her friends in the woods and all kinds of stuff. And it's just kind of like, okay. But then she asks for help by the paramedic, and then he goes down, and then you see her with her blood dripping hands, meaning she killed the paramedic. They're trying to be clever. They're trying to avert your expectations, but it's not working. And it's a badly written script. I guess the acting's okay. That's not the problem and everything. It's just nothing is really flowing well with this movie. It's just kind of a couple of ideas tossed into a blender and then it comes out. And it should have been structured better. It should have been written better. It should have been directed better and stuff. It's just not a very good movie. Now, what would have been a good movie if they would have done one or two things. if like they tripped in the woods and then hey, there is an actual human killer in the woods and everything. Maybe it's one of the hillbilly dudes and they have to fight for survival as they're tripping, and it's hard because they can't concentrate. And who is going to survive? That would have been a cliche-ish type slasher movie, but it still would have been fine. Or they could have done, hey, they're tripping, and the one mushroom did give that girl the power of premonition, and there is a monster type thing in the Irish woods from folklore, and it's killing them, and nobody wants to believe them because they're high, so they have to try to like survive. That would have been interesting. Or just the plain and simple thing, they trip. The one girl goes crazy and we see her chasing after her friends with an axe, and they don't know why she's acting this way, and they have to fight against her. That would have been better. Other than them trying to trick us and then trying to be clever at the end, it just wasn't clever and everything. Not to mention, when the killings do happen in the flashback, don't cut away from them, man. Like, nobody wants to see that. That wasn't that spooky. Alright, well, I shall talk to y'all later. Bye.